WBOB.com. Again, that's the WBOB app at WBOB.com. All right, let's talk guns. One of my favorite topics. Luis Valdez. He is, excuse me. To you gringos, it's Luis. To us, it's Luis. Anyway, some of you will catch that. Anyway, Luis Valdez is a friend of this radio show. He is the state director for Gun Owners of America. One day, maybe we'll do it over the holidays, Luis. So anyway, Luis, we're going to have to maybe do further conversation what the Supreme Court's going to hear, future proposed more pro-gun laws in the state that we need to address. One of the things that I have a small complaint, not with you guys, but I like to see the Republicans do even more is, okay, so I know I can't, win the whole Super Bowl, but at least if I can get a touchdown, I'll get it. I thought last year was a touchdown by going down the path where you don't have to have a concealed carry permit out there. I'd like to see a little bit further of where you should be allowed to carry your guns, like at a sporting event, even high school sporting football games. I wish we could have the concealed carry because sometimes we've seen activity with some shootings have taken place. So if we got to piecemeal that, then that's fine. You got an article out in the Orlando Sentinel. You're asking for full open carry again. What has been the conversation with state legislators? When I'm in Tallahassee and I talk to some of the things, this doesn't seem to come up as an issue at all. You wrote a commentary about it. Where is this going? I know you want to see it happen. The reality world is, are you getting some traction with legislators you're talking with, but are they being lukewarm on this issue about open carry here in the state of Florida?
So we've been talking to lawmakers, and we're actually getting positive traction. The issue comes down to legislative leadership. You have a Republican leadership in the legislature that pretty much placates as if they're pro-gun, but in reality they're anti-gun. You had the Senate President, Kathleen Passidomo, openly state last session that she will refuse to advance open carry because the Florida Sheriff's Association is against it, even though the current president of the FSA, Sheriff Bill Leeper out of Nassau County, he openly supports open carry. You have Sheriff Wayne Ivey of Brevard County, he openly supports open carry. And you have other sheriffs across the state, too, that support it. So she used law enforcement and threw them under the bus, claiming, well, if they don't support it, I don't support it, which is bupkis, because guess what? They do support it. They understand constitutional rights. And I have lawmakers that also understand why open carry needs to be an issue, because in that article I wrote for the Orlando Sentinel, one of the issues I tackled is what happened in Daytona Beach, Florida. You had a gentleman by the name of Mr. John Leggitt who was in his backyard with his 6-year-old daughter when his neighbor's pitbull got loose and got into their backyard and chased his 6-year-old daughter. And Mr. Leggitt went and grabbed his pistol and holstered it in his pants to protect his kid. He didn't draw it. He didn't shoot the dog. He was just there trying to protect his kid when Daytona Beach PD showed up to do a welfare check on the neighbor, the dog's owner. So Mr. Leggitt tells the cops, hey, help me get this dog under control. And instead, what did the cops do? They arrested him for open carrying in his own yard while he was protecting his own kid from a loose dog. And I'm sorry, as a former cop, I understand how Florida statute works. And 790.06, Chapter 790 clearly says, one of the few places you can open carry in the state is your own yard.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense. Yeah, that one. Luis, listen, I don't hang out with Senator Passidomo. I think I've met her a couple of times. If they have allowed, and this is where I'm going to get some emails on this one. If they have allowed other pro-gun legislation to take place, but yet you're saying, well, if they're not going to go with open carry, then they're anti-gun, but yet the argument's going to be, well, wait a second, Luis. They've allowed other pro-gun legislation. How can you classify them as being anti-gun then?
Well, it's real simple. Their record. Passidomo voted in favor of the Parkland bill. Passidomo voted in favor of stripping anyone under the age of 21 of legally purchasing a firearm, of pushing mandatory waiting periods, of restricting law-abiding Floridians' Fourth and Fifth Amendment rights by violating their due process to go after their Second Amendment rights with red flag laws. The fact that permitless carry happened last year was a step in the right direction after 3 hard years of work that we put on the ground to make it an issue. But part of that also was quid pro quo between her and other lawmakers and the governor's office. She wanted a quote-unquote low-income housing bill. She threatened that she would kill any bill unless she gets what she wanted passed.
Okay.
And the other thing too.
Hold on, wait. Hold on, wait. Again, I think I've met her once, so I'm not sticking up for her. But what I'm saying is, and I understand where you're coming from. The Parkland bill, I would have not supported. I would not have supported raising the buy a rifle from 18 to 21, and some of these red flag laws. I'm open for the debate, but not like, hey, this is going to solve everything. What I'm getting at is that you could take out her name and put in some other names, I'm sure as well. But I'm saying if they're voting for other pro-gun legislation, I understand where you're saying there's deals going back and forth, but on the record, they're voting for pro-gun legislation. But are we just classifying them as it doesn't matter? They're just anti-gun. That's what I'm getting at.
Well, what matters is their record versus what they do versus what they say. And what they've done is more anti-gun than pro-gun.
Okay.
In Pasabella's case, even after Parkland, mind you, as a Republican, she was the guest speaker for the Southwest Florida Democrats caucus. And she publicly stated we would have gotten an assault weapons ban passed after Parkland if it wasn't for those dirty gun owners in the Panhandle.
Fair enough.
Hold on. That's not what a pro-gun lawmaker
Fair
says.
enough. If for example, if an individual supports more pro-choice legislation and that they may be against partial birth abortion, it doesn't make them pro-life. That is how you explain it. I get that. I got about a minute and a half here. So you're having conversations right now with legislators in Tallahassee. On a scale of 1 to 10, is somebody ready to take the charge for open carry, or have we not found anybody yet to do this?
We are in talks with possible legislation being introduced this year. I'm not going to say names just yet because we don't want to let the cat out of the bag.
Right, I get that.
But things are moving forward, and the possibility of legislation being introduced is I'd say about 78 to 85% right now.
Really? Now, that will be the big debate. I'd like to see where this goes coming up actually the session starts in January. So we're going to follow through this. Listen, I need to get you back on. We've got to talk about, example, if you're a medical marijuana card-carrying holder and should you not be able to have a concealed carry permit? We could spend an hour and a half on that one. And, of course, the Supreme Court. So we're going to do more of this over the next couple of weeks, and we'll follow through with open carry. Again, I'm not trying to put you in a spot to give me names. I would just, the scale of a 1 to 10, you're talking an 8 or 9 that this thing's going to move forward. So we're going to talk more about this. Luis, our friend Valdez, is the state director for the Gun Owners of America, state director here in Florida. Luis, we're going to do it again real soon. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for having me, and thanks for what you guys do and being a shining beacon of liberty in these dark and troubled times.
Right. You keep going, brother. You could have kept that on there, man. Anyway, you brag about me.
Don't stop when you're ahead.
That's right. Yeah. All right. More news right here. Ed Dean and Roger Henderson.